Hey there, JD here. Welcome to my channel. Please subscribe and please hit that thumb up like because it helps my videos and it helps with my channel. So here we have a Tudor. This is a very gorgeous little ladies movement. I was asked to do this by a gentleman out of Edmonton, Canada. I guess he sent it to some other jewelers and they were refusing to work on it. It needed a new hairspring. You saw a previous video where I took the old hairspring and I managed to shape it into a running shape. I got the swing of the balance up to 360 degrees and the amplitude is half of that swing, which was not acceptable. So I sourced another full balance with hairspring for this, and it came from the US, and I believe this is an ETA hairspring and balance, and it's an ETA 2671. This might not be an OEM part, as I've been told, but it actually works perfectly. This is the old balance in here with the hairspring, so I'm keeping that just in case. But the new one installed perfectly. I made a video on that yesterday. It was a bit tricky, and I'm always worried about working on these ladies' watches, only because they're so small and only because the delicacy of the balance and hairspring when inserting it into the watch. I'm always worried, well, the watch is in my Myers number 58 movement holder, and when I insert that, if the balance were to slip off, the balance cock were to slip off, it would, and the balance were to stay in place, it would drag it all the way down and stretch the hairspring beyond use. So I don't believe I've ever done that, but it scares the crap out of me every time. So, and I'm really never sure whether to insert the balance and the balance cock at the same time, like to clamp them with my tweezers the same time and then insert them. It's always tricky, and then to find home with the upper and lower pivots is very difficult. And this balance, as you'll see, I actually had to shim it ever so slightly. I used one very slight piece of watch paper. Here's the watch paper here. I cut a slice of watch paper and I was able to just slide it in underneath the balance on the front end of the balance cock to rise it up just a bit, enough so that the balance would swing perfectly. So I did that. I put it in the time grapher and I measured it in all positions. I ended up with a 0.3 beat error, which is actually really good. I could have tried to get it to 0, but 0.3 is very good, and an amplitude of 261. So that's a very good amplitude for any watch. And the watch is functioning perfectly. I installed the rotor, and the rotor does wind the watch, and I checked the winding and setting mechanisms. This also manual winds, so you can, and that's not a Spanish name, by the way, manual winds. Anyway, so it manual winds, so you could manual wind the watch when you start your day and then just let the rotor take over after. But I'll be delivering this watch back to the owner this week. This was a real challenge, and the challenge was trying to recover the old hairspring and then sourcing a new one. There weren't a lot of new hairsprings out there to source for this 2671 movement. I might have been able to get an OEM part, but it probably would have cost a fortune. I looked at other watches that might have been available on eBay, like scrap watches. There were hundreds and hundreds of dollars. Just to buy a parts watch was hundreds and hundreds of dollars. A gentleman sent me an eBay picture of a bunch of these movements, but none of them had the balance. So usually when these watches end up going bad on you, it's usually the balance, the pivot on the balance, or the hairspring that causes the issue. So, and this is a Inca block kind of balance I put in there, and it works perfectly right now. So, and I'm saying right now, you never know, right, in the future. So this is a Swiss-made Tudor watch, Tudor Princess Oyster. It's a very beautiful watch. It is a dive watch, but I wouldn't go diving with it. It's way too vintage to dive with. And it's got a nice little cyclops there, as you can see, cyclops window for viewing the date right here, and everything else is functioning perfectly. And I wound that last night, and I think it was around 5 o'clock when I wound it, and it's running perfectly today. So I'm just going to let this run till it winds down to nothing and see what how long that the mainspring will last on it. But this is not a watch I would recommend the owner wear all the time every day. I just wear it for special occasions. It's a gorgeous watch. So If you have any comments or suggestions, then let me know. The next watch I'll be working on, I've got a choice. I've got to work on a friend's Seiko dive watch. I've already stripped that down and cleaned it, so it's just a reassembly and test now. And I've also got a very beautiful bumper movement, a Zenith bumper movement. And the Zenith watches are high caliber, and this bumper movement's probably, or the watch itself is 24 karat gold, soft gold, but 24 karat gold with the bracelet. And the watch is probably worth $2,000 to $3,000. So it's not a cheap watch, it's a vintage watch. And I probably will end up having to replace the crystal on it as well. It has a plastic crystal, and I could probably source the crystal internally in my parts bins, because I have more crystals than the Muppet Show, Dark Crystal, whatever that movie was. I get a lot of crystals. So that's it. So I just wanted to update you on this particular watch. It's running beautifully right now. I'm very satisfied with it. It was a job and a half, and I said I'll never do another lady's watch. Well, I did another lady's watch, and a gentleman out there helped me from Australia. His name is Mark. He's a pretty cool dude, and he knows his stuff way smarter than I am, and he's a professional watchmaker, and he gives me hints on what to do and tips on what to do and what not to do, and I really appreciate that. I really appreciate the tips. I'm not formally trained. I'm self-trained, and I have a million books on watchmaking, and I'm always reading, and I'm always learning. So I do pocket watches mainly, and this is a hobby for me. It's not a living. So if you're interested in sending me a pocket watch to work on, just let me know. And you can email me at jdwatchservice@gmail.com, jdwatchservice@gmail.com. And thank you very much for watching this video, and I'm going to be doing some more watch work today. And have a great day. And if you need any tips on how to repair watches, how to service watches, or which ones are good or bad, let me know. Thanks a lot, and I'll check out, and I'll see you later. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to see you later.